Oil closing at a new high for the year, $45.33 a barrel. And Leonard Riggio, the founder and chairman of the board at bookseller Barnes & Noble, say he is retiring in September, saying he's done making the big decisions. Tom Busby, CNBC Radio.
O'Reilly. If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing and grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like BrakeBest Select, and Wagner ThermoQuiet at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brake parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We are a nation of overachievers. We didn't just send an astronaut to the moon. We gave him a buggy with big old knobby tires to drive on that moon. A freaking moon buggy. So why have we settled for mints that only cover up bad breath instead of getting rid of it? We deserve better. Like Breath Savers. It's a moon-shooting, buggy-riding mint with Nutrizin, which is scientifically proven to neutralize bad breath. Breath Savers. It's the overachieving mint.
This is KCAA.
The Plains of Fame Air Show is happening April 29th through May 1st at Chino Airport. It's fun for the whole family. See famous planes fly like the U.S. Air Force F-16 Viper, P-51 Mustangs, and extreme aerobatics. Over 50 aircraft will be performing, plus food, vendors, military vehicles, and a kids zone. Experience the Afterburner Twilight Show Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Free parking. Tickets are $25. Kids 11 and under are free. The Plains of Fame Air Show, Friday, April 29th through Sunday, May 1st at Chino Airport. For information and tickets, go to plainsoffame.org. If you're a true superhero, grab your mask and cape and golf clubs. The Friends of Ontario Airport are inviting you to participate in their 26th annual golf tournament. The shotgun start is at 8 a.m. Friday, May 13th at Upland Hills Golf Course. Your day of golf will benefit Travelers Aid at the airport and the Ontario USO. Travelers Aid and the USO can use your help. To sign up, call 909-975-5363. Join the Friends of ONT out in the links on May 13th.
Good afternoon. It is 3:03. I'm Di Rice with the very latest in live local news here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Well, Ted Cruz is naming Carly Fiorina as his running mate if he wins the Republican presidential nomination. Fiorina is a former CEO of Hewlett-Packard and an unsuccessful presidential candidate this year. Campaigning in Indiana, Senator Cruz said Fiorina knows how to create jobs. He called her a person of extraordinary intelligence and a deep conservative. Fiorina said the 2016 campaign is a fight for the soul of the Republican Party and the future of America. And here at home, one day after San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergwan held a town hall meeting to address the recent violence here in the city, officers were investigating a shooting that occurred near a school this afternoon. The shooting happened just before 12:30 in the 300 block of West Wabash Street, a block north of Abraham Lincoln Elementary, which placed the school on lockdown. Following an hour-long search, police detained 2 people and recovered a handgun. A woman with at least 1 gunshot wound showed up at a nearby hospital emergency room. She is expected to survive. And a man died of unknown injuries last night near Temecula Parkway and the 15 freeway in Temecula, and his death is being investigated as a homicide. This morning, the area around Circle K gas station at 44,520 Bedford Court was cordoned off with caution tape as sheriff deputies investigated, along with the entrance to the adjacent parking lot that was also blocked off. About 4 squad cars sat parked between both parking lots as a means to keep people out. More details should be available about this story this afternoon. Meantime, Inland Empire weather: sunny, breezy, chance of rain by tomorrow, 69 the high. Today we got up to 71. We are currently at 70 degrees here in San Bernardino. And then checking out your drive, there is not a whole lot going on out there. Just remember, whatever you do when you're in that car, do not text and drive. All right, a little bit of slowness through Corona, 91 eastbound between Green River and the 71. Through Ontario, slow, 15 northbound between the 60 and Harupa. And the southbound side is slow from the 10 to Harupa. That's the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA 1050 AM with Dr. Donald Jolly. And what's it all about?
Greetings and salutations and welcome to all of you. Today we have a very interesting show. You know, in our country, I believe it's the greatest country in the world, and I believe that it is diminishing in its pursuit of ethics and all the good things that real, incredibly good human beings should practice. I think Pope Francis has it down when he talks about greed being destructive and affecting our entire society, and it is, because greed of whether it's psychological greed or ideological greed or financial greed is an evil, evil thing. And it's affecting all of us, whether we realize it or not. And I haven't had a dear lady that I respect so very, very much. And I've known her not only on the radio, but in the flesh, meaning, of course, at meetings and things like that. That can be misinterpreted, too. But Dr. Linda Lauderman from the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, which is one of the most incredible organizations that I have ever participated in because of the scope of what they do, is our guest today. And I want you all to listen enough so that you can be able to educate other people. Write down, get a pen and some paper, write down websites. This is an incredible organization, and it has affected, I think, now over 150 laws it has been responsible for passing that protect our children and protect ourselves from all kinds of unscrupulous things. Dr. Linda, are you on the line? I hope so.
I am.
Well,
very good to be here.
I am so delighted and happy and overjoyed to have you and the information you're going to give us. And I would like you to explain a little bit about Citizens Commission for Human Rights and what you do. This is big time. This is not any little play game thing. This is big time. So, Dr. Linda, if you'd do that and then tell us a little bit about what you want to talk about today, and then we'll get into it.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, Citizens Commission on Human Rights is the oldest, largest international mental health watchdog. And it was formed to look at and handle human rights abuses in the mental health field. And right now, we've looked at, psychiatric drugs before. There's all kinds of issues. It's so unfortunate because people get into the mental health field because either they're wanting to help or they're looking for help. So somebody who goes to see a therapist or a psychiatrist, they are in a vulnerable state. They are wanting help with something. And it is a field that has gone so far astray and is now, causing so much harm in the way of labeling people, drugging people, including children, and forcing treatment on people, thinking that, somebody knows best, and so treatment is forced. And then the other thing that, I wanted to get into today is about shock treatment and what's happening with that.
Shock therapy, I thought that died a long time ago because it was cruel and inappropriate and stupid.
When I tell people I'm working on this issue on Capitol Hill, that's the first thing people say is like, are they still doing that? And they are. Yes, they are. And there's a big resurgence of shock treatment. And it's actually being promoted for children. This is unbelievable to me. I mean, the fact that we still have shock treatment is, really, I think someday we're going to look back at it like we look at lobotomies. People will be they won't be able to believe that we ever did this to other human beings. But shock treatment is going on, and the American Psychiatric Association is pushing to have it reclassified into a category that's called safe and effective. Right now, shock therapy, it's also called electroconvulsive therapy or ECT. It actually maybe I should describe what it is so people know for sure what we're talking about. But shock therapy, ECT, it puts up to 400 volts of electricity through the brain, intentionally causing a grand mal seizure, and that is supposed to be therapeutic. They don't know why that's the case with anything psychiatric, drugs or this. What they say is it works, but we don't know why it works. We don't know how it works.
How do we know it works? What does it do?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, that's the thing. It's just another experiment. Do you know how shock therapy came to be? It was in the 30s, and it was in Italy. Is actually where shock treatment came from, and it was a doctor there, a psychiatrist, who made the observation that his patients who had schizophrenia, none of the patients who had schizophrenia had epilepsy, and none of his patients with epilepsy had schizophrenia. And so then he made this leap of logic that the two conditions could not coexist. So that's one leap of logic, is that, schizophrenia and epilepsy cannot occur in the same person. The second big leap of logic was, therefore, if I induce a seizure in a person, it will drive out the schizophrenia. That's how shock therapy was born. And so they
that's not scientific at all.
No, it's not scientific. And this is the history of psychiatry, very different from the history of medicine, actual medical field, is that it doesn't use the scientific method. And that's why we have so much problem in the psychiatric field. In the medical field, they use the scientific method, and they find the causes of things, and they use the scientific method, objective methods, to find cures. And they have found many cures in the medical field, many causes and many cures. In psychiatry, because they have gone off the right path, they have not used the scientific method, no causes have been found for anything, and no cures. That's what happens if you don't use the scientific method. You just keep throwing experiments around, and people are guinea pigs. And you try this drug and that drug, and then you say, now it's electrical, and then you try shocking, and then all kinds of experimenting. And they do cause changes in people, but it doesn't mean it's helping them. Like, one of the things right now is where they're using shock treatment, and I mean like electroconvulsive therapy, the one where you're putting the volts through the brain. They're doing that on children with autism. And the justification is they're saying, hey, these children are injuring themselves, slapping their faces or poking their own eyes, and that is serious. And then they say, well, if we shock them, if we give them ECT, shock therapy, they stop doing that temporarily. And so therefore, then it's like, see, we don't know why it helps, but this was therapeutic. They stopped slapping their face. And I am telling you, no joke, if you hit a kid who's injuring themselves, if you hit them with a baseball bat, they would also stop. Any injury or trauma is going to temporarily stun a person out of whatever behavior they're doing. It's not therapeutic, but it will definitely stop the behavior.
Well, you shock them into trauma, don't you?
You shock them into trauma. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. But they're calling it therapeutic because they're saying, see, it works. He stopped hitting himself.
And so somebody's making a lot of money from this equipment and selling the equipment and having people pay for the treatments. And they're, for years they've been recognized as being almost evil.
Yeah. They are making a lot of money off of this, and it's deep pockets. It's a lot of Medicare money and Medicaid money, elderly and children. The most often given shock treatment are the group with the most shock treatment are 70-year-old white females.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah, it is. And there's a big increase from age 64. This is very telling. From age 64 to age 65, people 64 years old, people 65 years old, there's a 360% increase in how much shock treatment is done. Why is that? Well, Medicare takes effect at age 65. So all of a sudden, all those people who didn't need shock before, now that Medicare is going to pay, now they need shock treatment.
I'm overwhelmed with this. Isn't there some way of bringing this out to the public and to the Congress? Yeah. And this is a scandal above scandals.
Yes. And I do want to focus on that. That's what I want to get into, because it is a bit overwhelming, and I don't want to just overwhelm people with the horror of this. If people have questions or they want to know, they can ask. I have lots of data. I have lots of information. But I do want to get to what we can do about this, because there is a lot we can do, and that's what I'm working on in Washington, D.C. right now. I moved to D.C. to just focus my efforts on these kinds of things, of stopping the destruction. So there's things we can do in terms of legislation, which I'm working on. Right now, the very first action needed is to get a congressional investigation into the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and how it is that they are allowing this machine on the market that has never gone through clinical trials to prove that it was safe and effective. It never has. The FDA gave the device manufacturers deadlines several times to do the studies and show it was safe and effective. And each time, the manufacturers ignored the deadlines and did nothing, and the FDA did nothing. And then they give them another deadline, and they don't do anything, and the FDA doesn't do anything. It's time for Congress to step in, because there are so many conflicts of interest between the FDA and the industry. These guys go back and forth between industry positions and then being at the FDA regulating the industry that they have just come from or are just going back to, and that kind of a thing.
Well, that's as much regulation as I am an elephant.
What's that?
I said that's as much regulation as I am an elephant.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So it is time that this has just gone on so way too long. I mean, thousands and thousands of people have been brain damaged by electroshock. And the fact that the American Psychiatric Association gave a public statement of urging the FDA to relabel it as safe and effective, so that the wording is so that children and adolescents can have access to this needed treatment.
Holy Moses.
It's like a benevolent thing, that we want to give them access to this needed treatment. The fact that this is going on needs investigation. And, I have names of people on the committees, if people want that, of who they could call in the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, to get this looked into. But it's unconscionable. I don't know. Did you see the movie Concussion?
Oh, absolutely. I'm involved in that, with the hyperbarics and brain injury. We figured out a way to fix those soldiers' brain injuries, and they're on drugs. There's 300,000 diagnosed cases of percussive injury. They're all on psych drugs. They're paying $5,000 to $6,000 a month, the government is, which is billions of dollars a month.
Yeah.
And we come up with a way to fix it, to heal it.
Yeah.
And now we are the enemy.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, well, I totally understand that, and I know what it's like being in that position where you actually are doing the help, and because you're going up against billions of dollars of interest and corruption, you get attacked. That's what we're facing right now. But anyway, so that movie, Concussion, a very similar thing is going on now, with how they're denying any damage from shock treatment, even though it's obvious. It's just common sense that to throw up to 400 volts of electricity through the brain, causing a grand mal seizure, it's damaging. It's common sense that, like neurologists, real brain doctors, they try to prevent seizures. Psychiatrists are trying to induce seizures and somehow calling that therapeutic. And you're just burning brain tissue. You're traumatizing the brain like a concussion. The after effects of shock treatment are very similar to the after effects of a concussion brain trauma.
I know that. We have treated hundreds of NFL people, some of which are going public and talking about it. George Visger is one of them. Give us permission to use his name. He's an NFL from 49ers in San Francisco. We see miracles happening when we treat them to fix them.
Yeah.
So we need to really get on the wagon here and do something. And, this is a good time for me to say something. Anybody who wants to learn more or give this information away, come on the website. Tell your friends the website. Di, can you tell everybody how to get on the website and get a copy of this? Do whatever it takes to try to learn and get copies of the shows.
Yeah, okay. The website is kcaaradio.com, and all you would do is go to where it says schedules. In the left side, I'm trying to get there myself so I can better guide you. But let's see, KCAA Radio, and let's see, we're getting there. But it says schedules, and since Dr. Jolly's show comes on Wednesday afternoon, okay, the very first tab at the top is home, and then it says schedule. And if you move your mouse over schedule, you can come down, drop down on Wednesday, and there you have it, full schedule. Find Dr. Jolly. The show's called What's It All About? And then you can click onto the podcast. Ta-da!
And you can listen to the show.
Yeah.
Can they also, if they want to, if they have a disc they shove in their computer, can they make a copy of it?
Absolutely. You would download it then if you wanted to do that and then just copy it over. So perfect.
Yeah, that's good. I recommend that you do that because you can really educate people. And there are children who are going to be subject to this who could suffer real damage.
Yeah. And, one of the things, again, like what we can do about this, one is talking to our representatives, calling Congress, letting them know that you do not want this. The thing is, this goes on because it's done behind closed doors and people don't know it's happening. That's part of the reason of coming on the show and making sure that people know this is happening so that they can take action. Because without the light of truth being, shined on this, they just do lots of evil things behind closed doors and nobody knows. And thousands of people get damaged. So it's up to us to educate. Once you know about it, you have a responsibility then to pass that on to other people. Then taking action, like letting your representatives know that you know what's going on and they need to know what's going on and they need to look into this. There's a whole movement now going that psychiatry is shifting over to all this brain stuff like electrical. They're not using that chemical imbalance language anymore. Everything was before, it's all of chemical imbalance, your mental and emotional struggles, and that was marketing language to sell drugs. If it's chemical imbalance, you need chemical to fix it. The language has shifted to shape people's thinking. They're now talking about brain circuitry, brain wiring, the need for brain stimulation. They don't say shock, they say stimulation. Underpowered neurons. Depression is because of underpowered neurons. They need to be powered up with electricity.
More like burned up.
Like what?
More like burned up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, the other thing would be we really do need new legislation. We need a ban on forced ECT for one. I would love to see ECT banned entirely. Shock therapy needs to be banned entirely, and maybe we should just go for that. First I was thinking we've got to at least ban it used in children. We've got to ban it being done forced, Because, if you're unfortunate enough to have a psychiatric label put on you, which all of us would meet the criteria for some psychiatric diagnosis, once you get a label on you, you are so vulnerable, and, you can lose all your rights. And that includes, being put in a hospital. That includes forced treatment. Shock therapy is done frequently forced. Obviously, some people agree to it because they're so demoralized by all the psychiatric drugs that they are willing to try anything.
They're zombies.
And they're just
zombies.
Yeah, they're just apathetic. They just kind of don't care. It's fine, do it, kill me. They don't care anymore. But a lot of people, it's forced on them. And that needs to be outlawed. That is torture. Actually, the United Nations, there's a position, it's called the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture. It's one of he's a rapporteur, I think it's a French word for reporter or something. But anyway, it's a guy, he's from Chile, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture. He has actually said that ECT is torture and that forced psychiatric treatment is torture. But we still do it in this country.
Well, we got to get on the bandwagon here and do something about it. By the way, this is KCAA Radio, 1050 on your AM dial, 106.5 on your FM dial. And since we are a radio station, we need to take a quick break. And we will do that right now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has only lately begun to gain recognition for treatment of chronic degenerative health problems, including stroke, diabetic ulcers, wound healing, brain injury, and many other disorders and diseases such as asthma. Whenever blood flow and oxygen delivery to vital organs is reduced, healing can potentially be aided with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Now, if you believe you could be a candidate for hyperbaric oxygen therapy, contact Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel, PhD, for a free consultation and see if this groundbreaking therapy is right for you. Mention KCAA and receive a free gift. Call 949-328-4268. That's 949-328-4268. Or go to hyperbaricoxygeninstitute.com. hyperbaricoxygeninstitute.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Behind on your payments or barely making minimums? Do your massive interest payments have you running like mad in circles? How long can you keep it up? Stop running. Let the Thomason Law Group carefully plan your escape. The Thomason Law Group has proven itself for over 18 solid years, helping thousands of people like you and me reclaim our financial future. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and offices in all 50 states. And the best part? There are no upfront fees at all. You won't pay a dime until the job's done. No upfront costs, no monthly fees, no banking fees. No other law firm does that. I'm a paid spokesperson, not a lawyer, and every case is different. But really, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, call the Thomason Law Group right away for a free, no-obligation consult with a trained legal analyst at 800-460-9790. Call now because you're tired of running in circles. 800-460-9790. 800-460-9790.
Welcome back to What's It All About on KCAA Radio. This is Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel with Dr. Linda Lauderman on the line as a guest who is enlightening us about a scandal, a psychological and medical scandal that we all have to participate. And we're actually, I think, potentially protecting ourselves. Is that not right, Dr. Linda?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is protecting ourselves, all of us. I mean, this is all also, what's going on, that we let go on in the culture affects all of us. And to allow something that is such an abuse of human being, of somebody's soul, that affects all of us. Yeah. And, I think, too, there's... people generally, when I talk to them, they feel a little hopeless about legislation, and there's this idea that we can't really change the government, and people have kind of given up on that. I believe very, very differently, and I think that idea, this hopelessness that's been kind of promoted, and people have been made to feel helpless, I think that's done on purpose because it has kept us out of the arena. It's kept us out of the game.
Well, Doctor,
but I'm telling you,
Dr. Linda, let's do something. Let's turn it around and bring up, I believe, if my numbers are correct, that your organization has been responsible for changing over 150 laws.
That's right.
150
right.
laws, because you work hard, you get it done, you present. It may take a long time, but we need help from everybody to collaborate to make these things happen. We're just giving ourselves up like sacrificial lambs.
That's right. And if people knew that it's actually not as hard as you might think to get a good bill passed. Like in New Mexico, the state of New Mexico, I worked on a bill there that it's the strongest bill we have in the country right now, protecting children from forced psychiatric drugging, and it's protecting parents' rights to be able to say no, that they don't want that, when they're pressured to put a kid on a drug. But it's just about doing it. It's actually the fact that we don't have more good laws and the fact that we have so many bad ones. We've just been out of the game, and we've let these other money interests just go ahead and make the laws. And these laws affect, they affect all of us. Like that bill in New Mexico, now those families and those children in New Mexico are totally protected. The schools can't demand that a parent put their kid on a drug. Child Protective Services cannot take a kid away because a parent won't put them on a drug. And that's one that people may be surprised to know, but if you don't have in your state, if that's not codified in a law, some Child Protective Service worker could interpret you not putting your kid on let's say your kid is called ADHD and you say, nah, I've read the side effects, I don't want to put my kid on a drug. Some Child Protective Service worker can interpret that as medical neglect and take your child. That has happened in different states across this country.
I've seen it happen. I've seen you guys.
That's right.
I've seen you guys get on the bandwagon and help prevent it as well.
That's right. Yeah. And now in New Mexico, because we got that law passed, that can never happen again. So it isn't hard to get laws passed, and we have to get more in the game and not let these money interests just run rampant and put whatever laws in they want. They got tons of lobbyists there. We need to have more of us up there. And on the state level, it's also, it's not that hard. I mean, if somebody's interested, get in touch with me because I would love to talk to you. I'd love to see more states pass a bill like the one we got passed in New Mexico that's protecting, kids from being, forced drugged in the schools. I would love to work with anybody who wants to get a ban on ECT in their state. Or at a minimum, a ban on ECT, shock treatment on children or forced treatment. So
how can we get a hold of you?
Actually, I want to give the website and my website so people can contact me.
Amen. Do it.
Okay, so my website that you can go on, and my phone number's on there. You can get in touch with me or email me. It's drlagaman.com. It's drlagamann.com. drlagaman.com. And then for tons of good information, the CCHR website, so that's Citizens Commission on Human Rights. So there's CCHRINT.org. The INT is for international. CCHRINT.org and CCHR.org. Lots of information there that will keep you informed. The documentaries, we've got 6 or 7 award-winning documentaries. These are industry award-winning documentaries, and you can watch all of them for free on the website. But anyway, we can be very effective. It's just about doing it and not listening to somebody say, oh, you can't beat City Hall, don't bother. It's like, yeah, who said that? Maybe City Hall said that. You know what I mean?
Well, you beat them already 150 some times.
That's right, and that's why we have drug warning labels, black box warnings, why we've gotten some of the things, reportings, that they have to report adverse events. Like lots of things. We've done lots of legislation, and then working on more. And that's the thing right now that I'm very focused on, because this whole psychiatry is moving in this direction of all these brain devices, not just shock therapy. That's the first one that they're pulling back up, but it's very science fiction-y, but I'm telling you, I don't have, because we're doing radio, I can't show you pictures right now, but there are these devices that are already being used, deep brain stimulation. It was first researched for Parkinson's disease, but it's being used now for depression and obsessive-compulsive and all kinds of things. And that is actually, it involves drilling holes in the skull and implanting electrical implants deep in the brain tissue, and wires come down inside the neck down to, a pacemaker, like a battery pack under the collarbone, like a pacemaker. This is permanent. This can never be removed. And this is being pushed for all kinds of mental and emotional struggles now. And they're trying to make this more broadly used. They're trying to use different legislation to get around the FDA kinds of standards and clinical trials to get a bunch of these brain devices. It's the future of psychiatry is all these brain devices. Not because they've discovered some cure, not because they have any science, but just because it's the next experiment and people are the guinea pigs. And these are serious. These are brain, wire things in your brain and permanent, and they do cause brain damage. And we have to get ahead of this. I'm already watching in the media how there's a false information, like a media campaign going on, where you just start seeing things. You'll see brains, more images of brains, more talk about brain circuitry and wiring, and a lot of talk about brain stimulation, and a lot of talk about treatment-resistant conditions. Everything now is treatment-resistant. And the reason for using that language is instead of saying the drugs don't work, it's turned around and it's like, oh, the nature of your condition is it is treatment-resistant to drugs, and it needs electrical intervention. It's going to need shock treatment, or it's going to need one of these electrical brain implant devices. That's what's going on. And I so want enough people to be aware of this that as a society we don't fall for it. Because
we're falling for it
as the next miracle cure.
We have to turn it around. We're falling for it already.
Yes,
we have to turn it around. And
we do.
There's a surge in frequency medicine in the medical world, but it works. It actually does help on a cellular level, but it's destructive for the brain.
Right.
See, that's not a good thing. And so I just want everybody listening, somebody just get excited about it, get involved, learn, go to the website. Please give the website again when I'm done babbling. Go to the website and learn what you can do. Even if all you can do is send a check for $5, but the thing is, do something.
Yeah. Somebody listening out there, and maybe more than one person listening, can be a hero. Like there's somebody listening out there who can help get a bill passed and be a hero and save thousands of children.
That is so true. I do know. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with what we do in hyperbarics. We've had to fight and fight and fight. We had to hire a lobbyist. Because everybody's down on what we're doing, because it takes, if we can heal a condition, if we can heal it, it takes away the necessity of having to be using pharmaceuticals your whole life.
That's right. Yeah, well, and that there's people that are going to be trying to stop you from doing that. So, and they've got lots of lobbyists. Do you know that there are 1,300 registered pharmaceutical lobbyists on Capitol Hill?
That's scary.
1,300. That's 3 to 1. There are 3 pharmaceutical lobbyists per every congressman up there.
And what do? They constantly try to sell what they're doing, and those poor people don't know the difference, and they believe them, and they get behind a cause, and they think they're doing something wonderful, and they're doing something destructive.
Right. Yeah, that's right, because they've been given so much false information. But again, some of that, like, that's our responsibility to make more of a presence up there, to call in and voice, our opinions to our representatives. Like, we have to be the ones giving them other information, truth. And even though there are 3-1, there's 3 lobbyists up there, and 1,300 pharmaceutical lobbyists, and right now there are not many of me up there. But when I go and I meet with a senator and give them information, it's amazing to see the recognition on their face as they recognize the truth. And then they want to use that. They want to do good. That's the other thing. I think there's a misconception about people on, on Capitol Hill, like that, they're all bought off or something. And there definitely is some of that. But the majority are actually people who went into that field because they wanted to make a difference and help. And if you give them the right information so that they can truly help, they brighten up because they recognize it. It's like, oh, wow, okay, great, now I can actually do some good. But they didn't have the information before.
Hey, we have a great movie, by the way, speaking of information. It's on our website. I have to call Cheryl and have her tell you how to get it. But it's called Brainstorm, and it follows a patient we had that we completely healed with hyperbarics, and we also treated a general. A general, and when we got that general improved and back to normal, the general was obviously aware of congressmen who were aware of him, so he's in the movie too. And it gives credibility to what we're trying to do in terms of healing brain tissue. We can heal tissue. Hyperbarics treated a horse that was dying of necrotizing fasciitis, which is the flesh-eating bacteria. The horse was a multi-million-dollar horse. The horse went in the hyperbaric chamber, a huge one, made for a horse, completely resolved, alive and well. And we can do that to leg injuries, diabetic wounds, avoid amputations. We can do that. And it's the same principle that heals injured brain tissue. The same principle. And so we can do so much. Yeah, amen. And we're trying to, I set up a charity to help people who have no money. We're trying everything to do the very best we can with God's great gift called oxygen. And we don't need electronics to do all this crap. I've been so tempted in this show. I have to tell my confessor on Saturday when I go to confession that at least a dozen times I almost said the words that BS represent.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all full of it. They're full of it.
Yeah. Well, you are doing so much. You are doing God's work. I am telling you, you are doing so much good for so many people. I am just so. I admire you. I'm so happy you are there, and I think so many people are lucky you were born and that you have done what you're doing. Because it takes a special person to do what you're doing and keep persevering, even though you're not getting a support. You're getting hit hard. You're getting obstacles put in your way, and you're up against money. This is what's going on. We're up against money.
And
evil.
It's true.
And evil. It's not just money.
Evil and money.
There's some true evil there.
Well, they go together. They go together. Yeah. Well, I would like very much to make this program available to as many people as we can. So I'm going to speak to my gracious assistant, Cheryl, after the show's over and see what we can do to let this out. And also the movie. We need to have you come back on the show in a couple of weeks, at least for a segment, if you don't want to do the whole thing, but at least for a segment, and then we'll follow up and we'll give some information and tell people how to watch the movie, how to get it, whatever, and then you can have any information you want to give them, and we can just do this. We need to do this often, at least once a month, a few minutes.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I do want to encourage people, like if anybody's listening that, feels inspired or wants to make a difference, contact me. I want to help on legislation in different states, and I could use help if there's somebody who, just wants. I could use some help, and so it would be great. You can do great good.
Well, and we need your help by giving everybody again the information. How to find you and grab you.
Okay, so my website that has my contact info, you're just going to have to realize it hasn't been updated in a long time, but my contact info is on there. I've just been so busy. I'm doing so many things, I don't have time to put them up there and promote them. So it's drlagaman.com, and that's spelled DRLAGEMANN, drlagaman.com. And then for information about all kinds of things, psychiatric drugs, the ECT, all kinds of things about the mental health field, Citizens Commission on Human Rights. And Citizens Commission on Human Rights was founded in 1969. It's been on this before anybody else, and it has taken hits. It has been smeared before, but CCHR is a powerful force. So CCHRINT.org and CCHR.org. Those are two websites. One's the international, one's the U.S. one. A treasure trove of information there, and relied on by many people now. We've got so many organizations that are working with us, so many good legislators that are working with us, trying to make a difference. It's really taking off, and yeah.
You know what I'd like to do? I would like very much to do a study, be it formal or informal or however, but we can gather some physicians around to monitor it and give the results. But I'd like to take somebody, or not somebody, but a group of people, and treat them with hyperbarics and see what kind of brain changes we can see. Dr. Daniel Amen, who is kind of a wild brain guy, he's been on TV forever, very knowledgeable man. I think I could talk him into helping us do it, and I would do the treatments for free, and we might be able to come up and say, look, we got a way to, and I don't want any money from anything. Other doctors can buy chambers, or the FDA can buy chambers and treat all 1 million people and make them better. I just want to prove that it's going to work and it helps people. So I'm going to be thinking and praying about that.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, that would be wonderful. I wonder if that would help people who have been damaged, had brain damage from shock treatment. I don't know if that can do that.
I'll call Dr. Jane in Switzerland. He's my friend. He is the author and creator of the textbook on hyperbaric medicine for the last 25 years, updates it every few years. And he is a genius, brilliant genius. I'll call him in Switzerland tomorrow and talk to him and see if we can find out.
Yeah, that would be good to know. I mean, I talked, like the brain damage, the cognitive damage is heartbreaking. I talked a couple of weeks ago with this young kid. He's just 27 years old. He was given 33 shocks in 1 year when he was 21. He was usual things. This is how people get in the system. He was 14 years old, father alcoholic and kind of abusive, so he was depressed. They put him on a drug. He says the antidepressant, made him worse. They put him on another drug, made him worse, kept giving him drugs, making him worse and worse and worse, and then they told him, oh, you need shock treatment. You look how bad you are. So then they shocked him 33 times until at 21 years old, he said, you got to stop. I don't have a brain. He couldn't remember anything. He went from being an honor student to not knowing how to tie his shoes.
I want to get him. I want to treat him. I want to help him.
Yeah. That would be fantastic. I would love to, see if that can help some of these people that have had damage from that. Yeah, let me know. Let's talk.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to do unusual things in order to make unusual things happen.
Yes, that's right.
Amen.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm just so excited because, I get excited about what I do, and I know you get excited, and that's what gives us the energy to keep going, and it also stimulates our creativity.
Right.
See,
and
hold
we're
on,
kind of cross-pollinating here.
Cheryl, call the radio station number right away. I need to talk to you on the air. All right. I'm going to have Cheryl call in and and do a couple things for us. Well, I think you figure out a time you want to segment in the next couple of weeks, and let me know, and let's continue some of this stuff. And when Cheryl gets on the line, I want to talk to her. She should be calling in, Di, in a couple of minutes. Well, Dr. Linda, it's always an energizing pleasure to be with you because you have so much dedication and so much energy. And at the annual banquet, the CCHR banquet, there's so much power there and so much energy put toward doing this. And I think that's one of the reasons why people get motivated, because if we're full of energy, we can transfer some of that energy to other people. Cheryl, are you on the line?
I sure am.
Okay, we have Dr. Linda Lagerman with us today, who has become a friend, and she's just an amazing woman. Her organization has been responsible for over 150 changes in legislation regarding psychiatric drugs and all these kinds of things that we're trying to fight against. And I would like you to tell people how to watch the movie Brainstorm on the Research Institute's website. Can you do that?
I can. So you need to go to RANRI, RANRI.org.
RANRI, RANRI.org.
Correct. And then there's a section that says HBOT testimonial.
HBOT stands for hyperbaric oxygen therapy, if anybody cares.
And it's at the bottom of that. There's videos. And when you go to that screen, then Brainstorm is the very first video on the page.
And it is a movie, so be prepared to spend some time watching it, but it's amazingly powerful, and I am absolutely convinced that the same thing that helped those people and that are helping our soldiers, and Congressman is talking about how good it is and saying we need to do this to every single soldier. They're being healed. They're being brought back to life, and that's very, very important. So we're dealing with reality here. We're not dealing with dreams. Anything else, Cheryl, you want to say?
Two more things. On the same testimonial page, you can see updated testimonials from the first, I don't want to call them batch, but the first batch of veterans that just received hyperbaric treatment. So most of them have received 40. There's also a link to the iHeart OC Day of Giving, and that is today. It goes until noon tomorrow. We would love it if anybody can support us with a minimum donation of $20 up to the sky is the limit. $25, I'm sorry. And the sky's the limit. And that goes on for, I don't know how many more hours till tomorrow noon.
And all this money goes to treat the people. I think, what are our expense ratio as a charity?
We're over 94% to the actual program.
94%. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, because we have volunteers. I don't get paid. Half the people that help us don't get anything, but they have other ways of making their money, and we just want to make a point. That's what we have to do. So anyway, Cheryl, thank you very much. Say it again how they can get the movie, because I want everybody to watch the movie. It's very important. Change your life.
It's RANRI, RANRI.org.
RANRI, and RANRI stands for Richard A. Neubauer Research Institute. He was my mentor. He's in heaven now, but he was my mentor for 30 years and taught me more than I learned in any school or class or lecture on hyperbaric medicine. And this organization is in honor. He did the same thing I did. He wanted to treat people, wanted to make things better, didn't care about the money. And it's magic, and we're going to make more magic. So anyway, thank you very much.
Can I ask you, under our projects where it says you can help someone who needs HBOT, is that where you can donate?
Yeah.
Where you donate?
Yeah. That's where you can do it.
That's the button to donate?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can either do it there. You can do it there, or you can do it at the iHeart OC. Either one.
iHeart OC is the charitable organization of Orange County.
Okay, that's what I see now.
They're having a 24-hour drive to help all the charities around.
Yes.
But I thought, when we did this thing, I prayed to God, how can we make it work? And he said, make it work with volunteers and very, very few expenses. We said, okay, so that's what we do. Cheryl, thank you. God bless you. Have a great and wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Dr. Linda, we had a good show. We've only got a couple more
Yeah,
minutes. So
that's fantastic. I love what you're doing, and I'm going to contribute to this.
Well, God
I'm
bless
on the
you.
website now. I just pulled it up so I could make sure.
You're a fast worker. So you're going to call me up and let me know when you want to come. We'll schedule you. And anything you want to do to get the news out, please, let's do it together.
Yeah, I would like to do that because what's needed right now, I've been just working like nonstop on trying to get information and meet with people on Capitol Hill. And really what's needed now is getting the information out more to the public. Like when you expose something and more people see that, it makes it that it cannot continue. But if nobody sees what's happening, then it just keeps going on behind closed doors, which is what's been going on. So it's about exposing, and that's a huge step in stopping something. So yeah, I'll want to come back and talk more, and I would encourage people who've gotten this information to spread that word. There's that phrase, each one, teach one. And I think that's how we get this out, and it's how we can tip the balance of awareness so that we cross over to the point where more people are awake and won't be then hurt by this. They will be aware.
Amen.
And protect themselves and their loved ones.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. I thank you from the depth of my being for sharing all of this and for what you do and for your enthusiasm and your energy. And God bless you. And I'll hear from you, and we'll be doing another one.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okie dokie. We only got a couple more minutes. 3 more minutes. So I'm going to remind us all that we are incredible beings and we're responsible for our lives. Every decision you make about yourself, remember that you are responsible for everything you do, and every action you take, it's going to come back to either bless you or haunt you. Bless you or haunt you. Love yourself. Love your body enough to take care of it. Keep poisons and crap out of your body. You'll live longer. You'll be healthier. You'll be able to function better. Be open to spirit. I don't care if you have no concept of God, or just be confident that there is something out there that's coordinating the universe, our creator, our force, whatever you want to call it. But be in tune with it. Shut up and listen sometimes. Give yourself a few minutes, 3-4 minutes, and just listen. And I'll tell you the last thing. The word for prayer in Aramaic, which happened to be Jesus Christ's language, if interpreted directly into English, means to set a trap. So every time Jesus spoke a prayer, and every time the church speaks of prayer, the ancient churches who understand what that really means, it's to set a trap. And Mother Teresa said one day, I know what that means. It means to shut up and listen. So that's what a little bit of meditation is about, just to shut up and listen. And things will come to you in little bits and pieces. If you save them, they'll be like bricks in a building. You have enough bricks, you can build a building, you can build a skyscraper, you can do everything. But we have to be cognizant that there's a lot more energy, vitality, and intelligence in the universe than us. And we need to learn to submit to it a little bit and garner energy from it. Well, I just pray that all of you will open yourselves up to wanting to grow, wanting to be much better than you are today, each day. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, your spirit, your mind. This is Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel on KCAA Radio, signing off until next Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
You're listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California. The best station in the nation.
I'm Tom Busby, CNBC Radio. The Federal Reserve today voting to keep a key interest rate unchanged, but providing no info about when its next rate hike might be, while still expressing real faith in the U.S. economy.